Hello everybody, welcome to our conversation chapter today. It's a pleasure to have you here. As you know, we're going to talk about a specific topic, about one important situation related to the COVID pandemic, the peddlers. For the ones who don't know what we're talking about, peddlers are an important part of the informal workers in the country. They are found in many places and sell a huge variety of products such as candies or fruits. As you can imagine, you could find them surrounding the university, and that's why we want to talk about them in the relation they have with all of the pandemic. I wanted to introduce you to one of our experts with the first question. Please, can you give us a little context about the peddlers and the relationship between them and the pandemic?
Okay, well, as you say in the beginning, peddlers are this important part of informal workers that we can see in many places of the city. At the University of Javeriana, peddlers are established in the main entrance, which is shared with the Hospital del Ignacio, so they have the opportunity to cover a large number of people in a normal situation. You know, when the pandemic didn't exist, there were a lot of people in the area, not only the students, also the patients of the hospital, visitors, and sometimes doctors. During the pandemic, peddlers have had many monetary problems because of the quarantines that keep people in their houses, leaving the informal sellers without a public.
It sounds really bad for them.
Of course, it is. Peddlers depend on the quantity of public around them to make money. With quarantines, the amount of people decreased to make the situation worse. Government aid didn't reach the entire population of peddlers, so many of them have been forced to work despite the restriction measures, risking themselves to get infected with the virus and take them to their families. And another issue that to take in account is that the public that usually buys their products is now rejecting them because of the new stereotypes, such as the virus is just there, lying in the products they sell, or maybe the fact that they stay all the time in the streets.
It sounds really complicated. Thank you very much for the context, but I want to ask another of our experts to give us a little view about the affection of the COVID pandemic to the peddlers. So, the microphone is yours.
Well, as my partner said before, the situation is not only the new stereotypes that surround the society with all those things related with the self-care measurements and the virus. The fact here is the peddlers are informal workers. It means that most of them are not within the social security system that every formal worker in this country has. So for that, they can have access to healthcare programs or healthcare institutions. On the other hand, they don't have the financial support to maintain an income that allows to survive in a crisis. The economic situation of this population is very serious because with or without a pandemic, they struggle every day to try to survive and bring food to their homes. Even though some peddlers can reach or enter to the aid government system, most of them are not selected. So the only way to earn some money and bring some food and survive during this situation is going to the streets to work.
So the situation could get worse?
Yes, of course, they are a vulnerable population with a high level of poverty and less opportunities than the other ones. In case they get infected, a lot of families don't have chances to reach social security aid or maybe medical treatment. Obviously, you can expect they can't respect the measurements of, self-care. They will be forced to work even if they are infected because their families depends on them.
Well, it's a really tricky situation which makes us think about all the future perspectives in all of this. That's why I want to introduce our third expert who could tell us about these overviews of the situation. Welcome here today, and it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you to bring this important topic to the conversation table. I would like to begin with the fact that Colombia faces problems in the current pandemic with high Gini indices and informality. In the case of Bogota, in February 2021, the unemployment rate was 15.9%, representing an increase of 3.7 points compared to the same month of the previous year. Its percent was 12.2. In this conjunctural framework, due to the impact of the health emergency, we find helpful national aid programs such as Jóvenes en Acción and Familias en Acción, providing basic livelihood. Unfortunately, as my partner said, These aids don't reach the entire population if necessary.
It's well known that we have a lot of main problems that make us inefficient and useless to handle an emergency of this type as a country.
Yes, it's true. We don't have good public politics to protect our vulnerable population, and also have a high level of unemployment and a lot of informal workers because of the lack of opportunities that exist nowadays. With emergency, we expect the situation to get worse. And the other thing that I want to mention is the inexistent support of the government to the small and local sellers. Here we have campaigns such as Compra Nacional, redirected to Plazas de Mercado, in order to try to support the small national producers, but it doesn't have the impact it deserves.
Well, thank you very much to all of you for staying here, talking about this serious situation that affects an important part of Colombians and give us an extended view of the effects of the pandemic here in the country. And obviously to our listeners, hope you like the conversation. We will see you next time in another episode. Have a nice day.